My name is Cheri Arrowood. I am from Jackson Independent. I've been teaching for 33 years. 30 of those years have been at this school, and we're very close-knit. A lot of the things you've seen today has come from that school, small school district, and I have to brag on these kids that are here. They really work with our younger ones. I teach 6th grade science and 7th grade STEM, or we call it STEAM because we incorporate the arts. And I call this Lab Ratz 2 because last year I got a grant called Lab Ratz where my 6th grade science class created YouTube videos with all their science experiments, their labs that they did. They had to do the videos and the pictures, and they created those blogs. So this year I did Lab Ratz 2, and that's going to did include my science grade and my 7th grade STEM. It also included 6th grade STEM with another teacher. We did a lot of collaboration. And I called it Go Big or Go Home because I found in science, when a lot of times when they first come to me in middle school and 6th grade science, they don't really like science. They're not excited. We have to read. I don't understand that. So last year we did lots and lots of labs. And so we continued that this year, but I wanted to make it bigger and better so that instead of watching the videos and think, oh, wow, can we do that? We are going to do that. So we did that, not as much as I wanted, because we do have a lack of some money, but everything that I got here was to make my labs bigger and better. So here you see that's my 7th grade STEM. They were working with the Lego robotics, which a lot of the pictures you see will not be necessarily what I got with my RI, but it's just some stuff that we had done. This is 6th grade science. We did rocks and minerals. They actually went out, and I didn't ask them to do this, but after we started, they came in, look what I found, and they had all kinds of things. So my purpose for my grant was to incorporate those big hands-on experiences to amplify that student motivation. Some goals I had when I started was to make that they see that it's challenges of real scientists. They're really doing real science. It's not just, oh, we can do that, or we know how that's done. They're going to do it. They have experiments and activities that use the scientific method. There's real questions, real problems they have to solve. They get to use that advanced scientific equipment. And they're going to create video blogs. This is the only part we haven't completed. Last year I found trying to do all those videos while we're doing the labs, we got behind and we didn't finish everything we needed to finish. So working with the STEM program, we started our video stuff in January, and now that they're used to that, that will be their next step. They're going to take all the videos they've done and all their pictures and create those blogs. One of our things that we got for the ARI was a field trip to Newton's Attic in Lexington. If you're a science teacher, you've got to go here. This unit of study was with forces in motion. And this is a place that was set up in Lexington by a group of engineers. They just got together and said, we're going to create this for students. And I hope my video at the end works so that you can see the motion and all the things they got to do. The first thing we did was, it was called the ballista, or the pumpkin chunker. And it was just a big catapult. They put a pumpkin on it, and then some kids got to try to run down the pumpkin when they catapulted it through the air. The thing I liked about this trip was it just wasn't, let's have fun and do it. Everyone they did the science behind it. All those Newton's laws. Before they did it, they asked, what do you know about this? Why is this working? And it was a learning experience. It was a definite classroom experience. Another one was called G-Force. This is one, it was sort of like a roller coaster, but it didn't turn them over. But the students had to pull their classmate back, and then when they let go, they would shoot them off. And they would talk about forces in motion. Another one was called the Spintron, and some of them got a little sick on this one. You'll see that video. This child looks like he's ready to go, but I think he was one that got just a little bit upset when he got off. Another one was the rocket launcher. This one we had actually made rockets in the classroom and used air pump, or a tire air pump, and shot them off. But they had one that was powered with the air generator. And then we took two groups. The first group, they loved it so much, they said, we'll build you one. So when we went back to the second group, we got to bring one home with us. So next year, we'll have our own rocket launcher. Okay, another activity was in science. This was elephant toothpaste. And I do this every year, and I've done it in summer school. And we always use a little bottle, and a little bit streams out the top. And kids, of course, oh, wow, that's so, wait till you see the video. This was in matter and chemical reactions. This is one of the boys. He was getting ready to do the elephant toothpaste, getting some of the chemicals in there. We bought the chemicals in this giant flask with our money. We did mixtures and solutions. We made slime. We made a density tower. We talked about the periodic table of elements, and they got to do their art and create their own caricature of an element. And then this was our elephant toothpaste when it exploded. So instead of a little bottle, we had a big explosion. And I hope you get to see the video, because the students were screaming and yelling, "Where's the custodians?" And the custodians came in and like, "What have you done?" But it got cleaned up, and by far one of the best experiments I've ever done. And then, of course, chemical reactions. Another one that we got a Van de Graaff generator with our money. The only thing with this, I'm going to show you some pictures. We left it toward the end of the year, and it's been so cold and rainy and snowy. We didn't get a big reaction yet, but the kids were very excited. She was hoping her hair would go straight up. Her mother's a teacher, and she came in. She said, "What will I do if I go touch it?" I said, "Well, I really don't know a lot about it yet. We're just learning." So I said, "Stand on that rubber mat." And she stood on the mat, and as soon as she touched her daughter, they were screaming, "Ow!" because all the static electricity. So the kids just loved it. We also turned the lights off. I didn't take a picture, so they could see the static electricity going from the hand wand to the generator. And you can see from their expressions, some of them aren't real sure what they want to do with it. With this one too, the study of unit with this one is electricity and magnetism. We built the circuits with the batteries and the bulbs and did all that, so different kinds of circuits. And then on this Friday, we're going to EKU to watch Architect. It's that big group that did American Idol, where they had the big generators and the big electricity goes through the air. So we get to go see that Friday as a culminating event. Sustainability. Although this is going to be my last year, everything that I've gotten in the last couple of years will be kept in the STEAM classroom or in that science classroom. And those teachers have already talked. They're already saying, "Give them to me, I want to use them." So these things will continue even after I'm gone. The giant flask and the Van de Graaff. Students train students. This is a big part of what we do at Jackson, because it's not, "I do this for you." It's, "I'm going to teach you, and then you teach everybody else." And you're going to find in some of the other pictures that my STEAM class, some of the things they do, I don't even know how to do. This is Mr. Coots. He has done the media. If you've come by the table out front, it says Media Lab. Those are my students, and they're working with Mr. Coots on that video project, and they are our leaders. They are our trainers. I've not trained one child in iMovie. I've not trained one child except for a few of my leaders on some of those things. Mr. Coots has done a training session, and then they've gone and trained everybody else. My 7th graders are now training 6th graders, so next year in STEM, that can be continued with them. So definitely with sustainability, that's going to continue. There's a picture of Mr. Coots training one of my leaders. They have the iMovies. Mr. Coots has bought the green screen and an editing app, and they know how to do that. And once they got started, my goal was, I'm going to train, Mr. Coots is going to train these 3 or 4 kids, and they're going to train everybody else. They didn't have time to train everybody else because teachers were saying, "Oh, I need them to make me this movie. I need this film. I need this." So it was a while because everybody was so excited. These students were training everybody else, or they were working on that. But every 7th grader right now has been trained in some part of that editing, either with Mevo or with that editing equipment. They all know iMovie, and they can do that. They also are working with a grant for entrepreneurship and making video yearbooks with kindergarten. And that is, they're training 6th grade to do that as well, so that will continue next year. Our community partners, we want to continue with KVEC. The Extension Office has done a lot with us this year. ATI Fellowship, we have 22 students, 21 are 6th and 7th graders that are working in the ATI Fellowship with KVEC. And then we are also part of a program called Maker Minded, where we take all these activities and we put them in on the website, and we earn points. And I think right now we're in 2nd place in 6 different states. So I'm very proud of them for all the work that they've done. Okay, my results. I didn't have it on here, so I had to bring my paper. I did find an increase in test scores. I found when I averaged my very first test in science, my average was 69%. And I had 23 students who failed. And I gave them a very specific study guide with every question that was on the test and the exact extended response. My midterm was my matter unit with the elephant toothpaste and everything we'd done. It increased to 72%, and I only had 20% that failed, and that was a limited study guide. My most recent test was a 76% average, only 18% failed, and there was no study guide. So I made it harder, and they still improved on their scores. And Mr. Coots is telling me I got to go. Okay. An increase in interest, my survey data, students, I had 85% who said that those labs helped their grades. 56% said hands-on made their class more interesting. 75% felt they were more confident in science. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm rushing. You've got to see my video. And 85% said that having the labs helped improve their grades. I think I said that. And it would also address those misconceptions. In science, there's a lot of misconceptions, and they saw, that's not right. I've got to figure this out. And this is our video. The people at the table made this video for me. Is the sound? Can you turn the sound up? I think it's just music, but there you go. So this was our robotics unit. This is Newton's attic. There we go with the video. And we were the only group there, so they got to do everything as often as they wanted to do it. So it was an excellent experience. Was a little expensive, so you need to make sure that you get some grants in order to pay for those things. And here's the little boy that was in the picture, or the young man. This is my 7th grade that was there, but 6th grade went a different day, and they got to do the exact same things. Here is our elephant toothpaste, and the little girl looked at me and she says, "When do I need to stop pouring?" And I told her, I said, "You'll know when to stop pouring." So, listen at them. This is 7th grade STEM. They were working on prosthesis, and they got to use 3D parts and create their own prosthetic hand. And they were really excited with this. They loved that project. We went to KET, and we got to do the video day with them. They learned about using green screen and iMovie. He's pointing at me. I can't help it. The video's still going. And that was 6th grade there. The Van de Graaff generator. And here they turn the lights off.